Welcome to class. The centerpiece of this course is going to be the marketing plan. We're going to be going over the elements of the marketing plan. I also want to go over an overview of the course itself. This course will be taught asynchronously, which means that there are not going to be live lectures. And you've got an entire week to complete the coursework for each week that's assigned. We start with module 1, it goes for 1 week, goes for module 2, goes for 1 week, etc. There's going to be things to do, there's going to be assignments, there's going to be quizzes. So what I ask you to do is to keep up with the work, and that's the way this is going to work. So there's not going to be a final project for this course just because it is asynchronous. You guys are not here in town. We're not going to be meeting in person. We're not going to be meeting on Zoom. Theoretically, teaching asynchronously or taking an asynchronous course is the ultimate inconvenience, because you can come in and out when you want to in the course, as long as you keep going week to week. Don't get behind. There will be due dates on anything. Quizzes, there'll be due dates. Assignments, there'll be due dates. You'll be able to see those. So that's the way the course is going to work. There's going to be a recorded live lecture. I'm going to put them on YouTube, so they're going to be accessible on any device, anywhere. So you'll get a lecture, a recorded lecture each week. So that's the way this course is going to work. Now we move into the content itself. We're going to be looking at the marketing plan. That's what this is about. Every marketing effort needs a plan. And we start with market research. If you were to go to someone who's going to finance you for funding, it might be a bank, it might be investors, they're going to want to see your research. And so in this course, we go over the simple way of conducting research for a very small company or for a larger company. All the things I show you in this class are going to be scalable from big to small. So we're going to be looking at the market, which we call that secondary research, and we use Google Trends as a good tool for that. Which, if you want to look at the trend of an industry, you want to get into the coffee industry, a small coffee shop, to compete with the big guys like Starbucks, you're going to look at Google Trends to see what the trends are for certain key terms like coffee, tea, things like that. And that's secondary research. It's data that already exists. We just have to access it. And we can be looking at the sales of an industry, how big an industry is. You can look up the size of an industry. For example, the size of the fast food industry in the US is $2.5 billion per year. You can look that up, it's available. We get secondary research from customers, suppliers, and also from competitors. We look at how competitors are doing. And then we get into primary research. That's where in week 3, we're going to be looking at designing a survey and the right way to do it and the logic behind it. And what I want is for you to be able to build your own survey. And it might be for a real small effort. It might be a business out of your house, or it could be a bigger business. But that's what we're going to be looking at there. And that's going to be in week 3 is market research. Before we get into market research, though, we're going to be looking at the target audience. So the order isn't as important as just that the elements are covered. In week 2, we're going to be looking at the target audience, and we're going to be looking at in the terms of segmentation. Segmentation is dividing a market into subsets of consumers that could be attracted to our product or service. And to do that, we build what's called a persona, and that's going to be in week 2, where there's going to be an exercise there. And the assignment in week 2 is going to be to build a persona on yourself. And so that's going to be the assignment you get directed to. This is an example of a persona, which is a much more sophisticated tool than I'm going to give you a less sophisticated and a sophisticated tool. The important thing is to get the job done, get the assignment in. And then in order to understand who our audience is, the target audience, we express them through the persona, which really, we'll talk about that in week 2, but it's really about creating a character that represents your target audience. And most businesses have more than one target audience. And so we build a character which helps humanize the approach. And so we're actually communicating with an individual or a group, as opposed to just a bunch of data on a chart. And then we describe the product. We try to we build what's called a product positioning scale, which you're going to be directed to, and also we're otherwise known as a perceptual map. And then so there's 2 different terms, but we're going to use at least one of them. And then we try to identify the unique value proposition. Every business has one. It's a matter of identifying it. And then we need to look at the competition. And I mentioned the product positioning map, and that's where you chart your competition on the map. But you have to know who you are and what you sell and what the niche is in the marketplace for it. Then you put your competitors, and that would be, it's called step 4. And then in step 5, if we again, these don't have to be in exact order, but typically you want to start with market research and segmentation, then you move into things like marketing strategies. What are the marketing strategies we're trying to identify? And sometimes we use networking. If you're a small business, you go to networks, you try to get your product or service known. Larger businesses may go to trade shows, can be pretty expensive, but it is an effective way of promoting your brand. There's traditional marketing communication strategies. We're going to set up the difference between search engine marketing and digital marketing versus traditional marketing. So we're going to be going over the differences there. And then there's personal selling. In business to business, let's say I have a marketing business, I want to sell my services to other businesses, you would use personal selling for that. That's going to be your primary driver. And then, we look at pricing. What are some pricing strategies? We're going to look at why you develop a pricing strategy. What are your fixed and variable costs, and how do you account for those? We're going to be looking at that, and then setting the ideal price and some of the strategies behind that. And then we look at budgets and that sort of thing as well. And then the marketing goals have to be set. Realistic goals. We need to have simple, realistic goals. Every business needs to have them. At least 30 clients that sell or sell 10 products per week. Increase of 30% a year. Some reasonable goal. These look like pretty aggressive goals. So it's just something you can achieve, because you don't want to set unrealistic goals, because that can be very demotivating. Then we need to monitor the results. Sometimes we survey our customers who are already customers, and we track sales leads and things like that. We use lead and lag measurements, which we'll be talking about. And next week, we're going to be, this is just a kind of a look into next week. We're going to be doing the persona. I already showed you this. This is the more sophisticated approach. It's actually an online model that you can use without a subscription. You can use it one time, then you have to subscribe. So it's one way. There's another one that is more of a basic approach, which is using a Microsoft Word file, and you just change the image, you change the name, you change all these things. So we'll talk about that in week 2. But this is the more basic approach. You can get the same grade if you submit either one. But the point is that I wanted you to be able to see them both. And I'd rather have you at least do it and not get frustrated with the online model if possible. So that being said, that is the small lecture for today. And what I want to do now is just go to the course itself. And this is what it looks like. This is week 1. This is week 2. And we're going to be having, and there's going to be a quiz for week 1. So you want to make sure you, you have paid attention. And you can go back to look at the slides of this presentation if you want to. And there's going to be readings each week, and then there will be a quiz. And if there's not, there's going to be something to do each week. Next week in week 2, there's going to be the persona assignment. You build a persona. So that's going to be the assignment for week 2. And it's either going to be a quiz or an assignment each week. Week 3 is about developing a survey and working on market research. There's going to be interactive videos that you can click on, and I designed these. When you say interactive, this says interactive video, you click on it and it gives you a little quiz in there, which is like a practice just to see if you're getting it or not. So that is the lecture for today. And I look forward to seeing you in class, virtually at least. And I would just remember, stay within the week. Once week 1 is over, we start with week 2. I don't want you to wait 3 weeks and start the course. Okay, so stay current. It's going to be convenient for you. You've got the entire week to execute the reading and the video lectures and the quizzes and homework. You've got a lot of time to do it, but I know you're busy with other stuff. So but I want you to just stay current with me if you would commit to that. Okay, thank you very much. I'll see you virtually in class.